Instagram. Hello to everyone listening on the podcast. My name is Kyra Napoli. I'm your personal mindset mentor, also known as the Domestic Beauty. I'm a little bit out of breath because I sat down before to do this live and I was like, I just feel I need a So I needed a second to get up and push that energy up. So I put one of my favorite songs on and here we are. All right, so today we are chatting. Let's see if I can get that. Hey. Today we are chatting one of my favorites, resilience, right? And I'm going to pull a quote from one of these babies later. But first of all, I want to go ahead and thank so many of you for reaching out to me in the last 2 weeks, especially in the last couple of days. It has been amazing. I'm sorry if it's taken me a little while to get back to your messages. I don't take compliments well. Hands up if you don't take compliments well. Not that I don't love them, but I don't obviously let them hit where they need to hit. So sometimes I need some time. So I did message a beautiful lady back this morning and I said, I'm sorry, I just needed to listen and you're very much appreciated, but I needed to take it in what was being said. It was a beautiful message. You know who you are. I know that you'll be watching this eventually. I need you to know that I'm proud of you. You need to keep going and you need to keep doing you. And thank you so much for your support. All right, so we're going to be chatting resilience. So first of all, we're going to chat what is resilience. We're going to chat why it's important. I am going to share an example in my life of when I've had no other choice but to be resilient or build resilience. We're going to talk about, different reasons, as I said, why resilience is important. And we're going to talk some tips on how to build resilience. So, of course, I have notes, always do. I have notes. This is really, really important to me. So I come prepared, which is fantastic. So take a breath. All right, so if you're watching on Facebook or you're watching on Instagram, please comment and say hello. I can see you guys on Instagram. Please comment and say hello. If you're watching this on the replay, please make sure you still comment, send the love, pop down your favorite emoji, and let me know where you are watching from. If you are listening to this on the podcast, yes, there's a podcast. I officially uploaded the first episode on Sunday. So it is the Domestic Beauty Podcast, available on Spotify. Please go and check it out. If you're listening to this on the podcast, can you please like it, share it, love it, take a screenshot, tag me, send some love, let me know what you think, let me know your thoughts, let me know if there's anything in particular that you would like me to talk about as well. All right, so the title of this video is The Power of Resilience. Overcoming, adapting, and evolving. So let's go to, I've got my beautiful document. I didn't want to type everything out today. Usually I type it in my book. I did type some notes, but I actually have my laptop open because it's going to be a little bit easier for me. All right, resilience refers to the ability to withstand, adapt to, and recover from adversity, stress, or challenges. It's not just about enduring difficult situations, but also about bouncing back from them. Often emerging stronger and more resourceful. Amen. Resilience involves a combination of emotional, psychological, and sometimes physical processes that enable an individual to effectively navigate and overcome hardships. It's a dynamic and evolving trait, often developed and strengthened through life experiences. So it's something that we all build. We're not all aware that we are building resilience, but it's really, really important that we do. It's going to help us overcome so many obstacles in our lives. And my mindset, obviously you might have noticed, if you know me well, you might have noticed over the last couple of weeks, my mindset, especially on social media, is different, which is great. But when I am faced with a challenge, when I'm faced with something that I cannot control, when I'm faced with a situation which I'm going to share with you, from a past life that I have no say in, or I feel like I have no say in, I know at least I'm building resistance and I am adapting and I am evolving, right? So let's chat about why resilience is so important, all right? Why it's important. And let's be real, over the last couple of years, we've all added to our resilience bank. We've all had to, because there were things that we could not control. There were things and situations that we could not control. And we had to deal, and we had two choices. You either deal or you don't deal. And there are times where we did both at the same time. All right. So resilience is important. Number one, for coping with stress and adversity, helping us navigate through difficult times. Number two, our emotional well-being. So resilient people are often better at managing their emotions. Hands up if you're great at managing your emotions. Sometimes not all the time, especially with young kids, but it's something that we're always challenged with. Personal growth, so facing and overcoming obstacles, and obviously adds to our personal and professional growth as well. Health benefits. So there are major mental and physical health benefits to being resilient and adding to your resilience bank and building that character trait, and obviously helping reduce stress-related issues, health issues. Success in life and work. So obviously being able to adapt and overcome and persist. Okay, so persisting and pursuing our goals rather than just going, no. There's been so many times in my life that I've just gone, nope, too hard. Whoop, nope, too hard. That feels uncomfortable. Nope, that feels like I can't do that. Nope. That feels like, oh, that's just not the path for me. How many times have you been faced with a situation and you've gone, oh, that's just not the path for me. Off you go. And you go, well, I could have actually persisted and pursued that goal or whatever it was. And one of my favorite, yes, Mark, I want you to post your favorite emoji, please. One of my favorite sayings from Jessie Lee Ward is, I have more grit in me than quit in me. I have more grit in me than quit in me. So the ability to be able to see things through, persist and pursue. Positive relationships is another reason why resilience is really, really important. So the ability to have strong and positive relationships, to be able to see through any obstacles in those relationships, whether they're friendships, marriages, all that kind of stuff, to be able to see things through. See, there's so many people I know, so many adults I know that can't positively get through an argument, just a basic argument. Some people just can't get through it or overcome it. So resilience, add to your resilience bank. All right, so and your contribution to society, being able to share and impact your community by sharing your stories of resilience. So they are important things, important reasons why it is important to be resilient. And you may not be aware of your resilience at all. So this is something after this podcast, after this video, I want you guys to be really, really aware of the times that you have overcome things and you've built on your resistance. Resilience, not resistance. All right, so we're going to dive into an example of when I was, thrown into a situation where I had nothing other than to be resilient. So we're going to go back to 2009. My hubby and I just married. We were, I think at that stage I was 24. 24? Yes, I was 24. We had just gotten married in the April. My husband and I, we have known each other since 2001. So we were both in high school and stayed together from the age of 16. Still going strong, which is amazing. And as you can imagine, we have overcome a shit ton, right? So we have worked through and overcome a lot because we were very young teenagers back then. And now we are fully grown adults, but sometimes don't act like it, but that's fine. So heading back to 2009, we had just been married. We had just spent 4 months in Europe for our honeymoon. We were pretty much on top of the world. We had just built a house, which you're going to hear about because that was the house from hell, but that's okay. It's not where we are now. But we built a house. Steve proposed, I think I was 23. We were married like 24, European holiday, quit the job to go on the holiday, all that kind of stuff. Lucky enough to have a brand new house just before we got married, built. And we come home from Europe going, right, what's next? I'm assuming it's family. Let's start a family, right? So Steve being from a European background, Maltese and Italian, it was a really important plan for him that he wanted quite a few children. And I was excited about that journey as well. I was so excited about that journey. So to come to realize that things weren't 100%, they weren't okay, that something wasn't quite right, was devastating. All right. So I realized, so myself being on the pill since I was 16 years old, that is something I could talk about for many, many days. Never again will I touch the pill. I was on the pill from 16 through to just after I'd gotten married. It's time to start a family. As I said, we come back from Europe on top of the world. We are newlyweds. We are ready to start our life. We are ready to go. And then nothing. And then nothing. And then each month, nothing. Right. So it was actually I think it was around my birthday in the October. I went and saw a doctor because I had gotten off the pill and I'd seen the doctor and I was like, there's nothing happening at all. It's like my body has completely shut down. As soon as I got off the pill, I had gained a lot of weight, So much so that people were like, oh, you're happily married? No, that's not what it is. Yes, happily married, but no, that's not what it is. There's something wrong. There's just something not quite right. And I went to the doctor, got some blood tests done, all good. I'm walking away thinking, all right, well, we'll see how we go. Hopefully that's something that they can fix. Hopefully it's something they can tweak. And so I went back to the doctor and it was probably one of the worst experiences with a doctor that I have ever had. Ever. I walked into that doctor's office, newly married, on a high, home from my European vacation, in a brand new house, ready to start life again. And I set my bum on the chair and the doctor went, oh, yeah, no, you've got polycystic ovarian syndrome. Oh, it's going to be very hard for you to have children. Infertility is one of the effects of PCOS. I recommend you go away and lose between 16 and 20 kilos and then come back and we'll see how we go. All right, next. And I walked away going, what? Sorry, what? I've got what? And I've just got to lose what? And how do I, what? Like what? Obviously went to pieces. Obviously heard the word infertility and I was like, boom, like my world shattered. I remember saying to Steve, the doctor just told me, like, that's it. Like this is going to be hard and this is going to be hard and I have to lose all this weight. And straight away in my mind, I was like, that's impossible. So yeah, right. Happily married. And so you wanted kids? Yeah, me too. Okay, cool. So travel then? Something else now? And that's, I think for a good, I want to say 6 months. It took me about 6 months to wrap my head around it. And instead of educating myself, instead of honestly trying to wrap my hand around it in the right way, I went the wrong way. And I understand why I did. I know that I didn't have a lot of information, and there actually was in 2009 not a lot of information about polycystic ovarian syndrome. There was not, I had no idea what was going on. I had no control I had no control over my body. I had no control. All I knew was someone had gone, yeah, no, but thanks. And so I had to learn to, first of all, fall apart, and that's okay. And then I had to learn to move forward in what felt like complete darkness. So we took a couple of months to obviously just go, okay, cool. All right, maybe she was wrong. Maybe this is going to work. And each month my heart broke and my husband's heart broke over and over and over again. And I would stop sharing with him how I felt because I didn't want to put that pressure on him. I didn't want to, he was okay if I was okay, but I didn't want him to feel like I wasn't okay. I didn't want to not be okay. No one ever not wants to be okay, right? So it took a good 6 months of self-loathing, self-destruction, a lot of hate, a lot of bitter feelings. You know what? I would even say, no, it wasn't 6 months. I was going to say it was probably a good 2 years of self-loathing, self-hate, self-destruction. Instead of trying to get my mind in the right place, I was too interested in blame, and I was too interested in why have I got this? Where did this come from? Rather than how do I deal with this? How do I move forward with this? How do I educate myself on this? How do I find someone who is educated on this? And after some time, each month that went on, I fell deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole of like just the only word I can describe it is just bitter. I just became bitter. I was not the person that I previously was. I didn't know how to find who I was or where I was supposed to be. And so one day after a lot of self-loathing, a lot of self-hate, I realized that I just couldn't live the way I was living anymore. I didn't want to live the way I was living anymore. And so I decided that basically enough was enough. So sometimes we need to draw the line and we need to say enough is enough. We need to be so fed up with our situation that we make the choice to change, that we make the choice to stop hating and move forward. Find ways to step forward and move forward. And that's what I did. So I was basically told, number one, you've got polycystic ovarian syndrome. Okay, cool. I did as much research as I could on polycystic ovarian syndrome. I saw myself a better doctor. Thank you very much. I actually did eventually go back to that original doctor, and I made an appointment with her just for some blood tests. But I basically sat in that same chair, and I was like, what the hell? What the hell, man? You told me this, you shoved it in my face and basically shoved me out. You gave me nothing. You gave me nothing. And you don't understand what that how that affected me. And she was actually shocked. She was like, oh, did I? I'm really sorry. Like, that's okay, but it's not okay. So just be mindful. So I found I was actually able to come across someone who is no longer around in the social space, in the social media space. And I was able to research myself a lot on polycystic ovarian syndrome. I read a lot about polycystic ovarian syndrome. I read a lot about infertility. We did everything and any test that was necessary. We were told, keep trying. But my main concern for me was getting my health in check. If I could get my health in check, that's something that I could control. So after, as I said, a lot of self-loathing, a lot of self-hate, I actually decided that it was time, draw the line, get your health in check. And so I joined a gym, as you know, we've all done before. But because I had drawn that line, and because I was already fed up, I knew that it was on me now. It was on me to make that decision to move if I wanted the result. If I wanted a child, I had to get my health in check. I had to do something. I couldn't just sit back and blame someone else. I couldn't sit back and sit in a negative state. I couldn't sit back and just go, I've got polycystic ovarian syndrome. Boo-hoo me. No. So what I did in hindsight, again, hindsight, we love hindsight. What I did was actually turned my situation and I used it as my strength. So rather than sit there every day and go, I've got PCOS, I actually turned that and went, I'm really grateful that I've got polycystic ovarian syndrome. You know why? Because I get to battle it. I get to be the strongest version of me and I can control that. So I'm grateful for my struggle. I'm grateful to have had such a harsh situation laid on me because I get to be the strongest person I can to fight it. And so something I made sure that I did every single day was I went to the gym. I went to the gym every day. And I did whatever I felt like. So I set the standard for myself and I did whatever I felt like I could do. Sometimes it was too much. Steve then encouraged me to see one of his cousins who is a naturopath, and he was phenomenal. If you have polycystic ovarian syndrome, obviously these are my experiences. He was able to, as a naturopath, he was able to really fix. So I had a lot of issues with my nervous system. All he had to do was take one look at my eye and he was like, your nervous system is completely shot. All right, this is what we need to do. I was on all these concoctions. Everything was like milk thistle and licorice and all these bottles. They look like 1920s medicine bottles, right? He would mix up these things and there was something that I had to take before I even opened my eyes in the morning. It was right next to me because something activates as you're about to open your eyes in the morning. So I was very aware. I had trained myself and I was very aware. It was right next to me. I would open my eyes. I would take this little shot of thing. It was completely disgusting, but it worked. It worked. And I worked through everything step by step. I was able to get the support that I needed and that what I felt, was working and all that kind of stuff. So as soon as we decided, I'm going to say we because my husband was really, really supportive. As soon as we had decided to shift that mindset and work towards it rather than sit back and just point at it, things changed, right? So over time, I built that resilience. I built that growth, that mindset, and something that I would do every single day on the treadmill. So first of all, I got a whole lot of blood tests. I would share the blood tests with professionals that I thought I needed to, naturopath, doctors, whatever. And I learned, so I did a lot of reading and I learned, that too much exercise, which I did at one stage, too much exercise was actually building the testosterone levels up. Testosterone is huge in my body. It is huge. It is a lot more than most women. And so that's something that I had to really balance out, is that the 2 days, 2 sessions at the gym a day is not on. It's absolutely not on. You're going to get there faster if you are doing weights and if you're doing walks rather than runs. So every single morning on the treadmill, I had a particular playlist and I worked on my visualization, right? So the goal was to have a child, right? So as I was on that treadmill for half an hour, I would have my songs in my head. And even now when I hear these particular songs, I get goosebumps, right? Because I'm just like those songs were a part of my resilience bank. The support from family were part of my resilient bank. My mindset was part of it. But I would visualize the doctor handing me my baby, like, you know, wrapping the baby, the midwife or whatever, and handing me my baby, and I would visualize me receiving my baby, right? So day after day after day after day, and this was actually around the time that you could start checking in on Facebook, and so everyone would say to me, how many times do you go to the gym? You're making me feel crap about myself. I'm not going to the gym, but you're going every single day. And I was like, well, get your ass to the gym. And we'll get your ass, you know, to something that makes you feel lifted, right? So I was heading there every day. I was working on my health every single day. I was making sure that I was moving forward and not sitting in a state of negativity. And there were times that I would come home and I would just cry, and I would cry and I would cry. What hurt the most, and I'm going to be so honest and raw with you, what hurt the most in my infertility journey was trying so hard to be happy for other people. When there were pregnancy announcements, I would try so hard. I would hate the feeling that I would get in my chest. I feel like I couldn't breathe. I feel like, you know, I feel like my heart was ripped out. My stomach was twisted, because it was something that I couldn't have and I couldn't control. And so I would go into a really negative mindset because I hated the fact that I couldn't, my first reaction wasn't just to be happy. It wasn't just to be happy. And that's where a lot of my resilience was built. In those moments where someone would share their wonderful pregnancy announcement, yeah, I was happy. And of course I was happy for them because amazing, right? Amazing. And I hope that this is coming across in the right way. But there was a piece of me that just went, it was just crushed, because on a good day, I was fine. On a bad day, I was really not. And so I really am empathetic and sympathetic towards anyone going through an infertility journey. We eventually made the choice once I had gotten to a point with my body where things were starting to work. So a really big thing with polycystic ovarian syndrome, everyone is different. It's not just a tick the box situation. You know, you fit this box, you fit that. No. Everybody is different. For myself, there were no regular periods. I went 1 year without one, which is really, really bad, really bad. And so for me, my aim was to get that regular cycle back. And as I was working with the naturopath, as I was working and getting, you know, the scans, as I was working on my mindset, as I was doing things for me, so not just exercise, but doing things for me, because that is a huge part of resilience, is having that time to fulfill your joy and what you enjoy. That even the gym, for example, I went to, like, it was a chore to, it was something for me. It is something that I enjoy, and it is something for me. So as that was all working together, as I had decided to work with the goal and not against the goal, things came back. Things came back, not perfectly, but they came back. And so over time, we then made the decision. I remember the night that we made the decision to pursue IVF, because it was something that I was nervous about. It was an option, but I obviously would prefer not to go through that option. And so one of the nights that we decided to go ahead and pursue IVF was one of the nights that again, another pregnancy announcement, and we're all like, yay. And I just remember coming home, and I wasn't just sad. I physically, like, I didn't just mentally crumble. I physically crumbled. Like, I just remember falling to the floor and just thinking, like, how do I keep moving forward? Like, how? And I'm getting emotional only because I can remember that state. And the issue with I'm not going to say the issue with, but something that I have done over many, many years. I'm a very much like move forward person, put the blinkers on and move forward person. And that I've actually shut a lot of this out. And I shouldn't have. I should actually celebrate all of this. I should actually celebrate the resilience, because these moments are really, really important. And these moments that I've gone through really have shaped me as a person. And I just remember that night, I just remember falling, like physically falling to the ground. And I remember Steve just looking at me going, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, I'm done here. Like, I'm done. We need something else. Like, I can't keep just expecting it to happen. It's not happening. We need something else. And it might have been around my 27th birthday, or just after my 27th birthday, because I was really, really upset because I knew that my mum had me at 27, and I thought in my mind that was late. It's absolutely not. It is not. It is not. But I was freaking out that year. And so we then made the choice to go through IVF. I will go through that journey with you as we chat more resilience next time, because that is a resilience story on its own. That is it. But to have gotten myself from my diagnosis through to I can actually, I'm working with it rather than sitting against it, to have that mindset shift, to be able to get myself and my body in a state. And let me tell you, when I was told you have to go away and lose at least 16, 20 kilos, thank you, next. By the time we actually decided to do IVF, I was down 16 kilos to the dot, 16 kilos. And so rather than me going, I've got to lose 16 kilos, I threw that number out the door. I actually threw it out the door and just focused on the end goal of having my baby, holding my baby. So going from you're infertile, go away and lose weight, to devastation, self-loathing, self-hate, to I've got to work with this, I'm going to use this as a strength, I'm going to move forward, to actually fulfilling that 16 kilo weight loss. That was huge, because I would not have got there in that state that I was in. I would not have lost that 16 kilos in that state. Now, I'm not telling you that 16 kilos is a thing and that's going to solve your issues, because it's not, because it wasn't so much about the weight, it was more of what else was going on. They all work together. But if I had that in my mind, if I had those words in my mind and not the positive mindset that I was starting to build on, I would not have got to that end goal if I didn't make that switch. So I hope that sort of, helps you guys. I know I said to you I was going to share my stories. I hope that sort of helps. I know that we all know someone who suffers with infertility, who is experiencing infertility. And so as I said, I see you, I feel you, I hear you. And not all of our situations can be solved, but, finding our happiness, finding our joy will definitely help. All right, so I just want to make sure that I've gone through all of these. All right, so let's talk about, so I've shared with you some of the things that I did to help with my resilience, not resistance, but it's kind of like resistance, that have helped me. Here's a couple of other things, and some of these things I did do as well. So, building resilience without stress. So a lot of the times we are building resilience through stress, through overcoming stress, through adapting and through evolving, right? But not all resilience built situations have to be stressful. It doesn't have to be stressful. So you can build resilience by mindfulness and meditation, and both I still practice. I'm hoping to actually get back into meditation, but mindfulness is 100% something that is part of my everyday life. Positive relationships, who you surround yourself with. You can build resistance by the people that you surround yourself with and the relationships that you have. The more resistant you are, the stronger your relationships will be. The smaller your friendship groups may be, or the people that you hang out with may be. But the more positive the relationships. So those toxic people in your life, and you know who they are, those toxic relationships, those toxic situations in your life, I'm giving you permission to cut them out, right? Because they are serving no one. That relationship is not serving anyone. All right. Self-care. So this is anything from, self-care is anything from exercising through to sleep, through to going to get a massage, reading. Reading is one of mine. Listening to podcasts, listening to anything, music, whatever, right? So self-care, taking that time for you. It could be taking a bath, taking a shower. If you're a young mum, taking a shower is the best experience of your life, right? All right, setting realistic goals. So not overcommitting yourself. This is one that I do a lot, which is not great, but setting realistic goals. So working towards achievable goals and celebrating small successes. So celebrating those small successes. It can boost your confidence and your resilience. And remember, something that I want you to remember about confidence is that you are not just given confidence, you earn your confidence. So you don't do something because you are not confident. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to show up on social media because I'm not confident. No. You showing up on social media and doing those things, even though you feel uncomfortable and even though you don't have that confidence, that's actually how you're going to get it. That's how you're going to gain that confidence, by doing the activity. So don't do something just because you don't have the confidence. You'll get it. All right. Developing a growth mindset. So embracing challenges and as opportunities for learning. Like I said before, something that I often do when I am faced with a challenge, when I am faced with a situation that I can't quite control, or I know that I need to move through. I know, I'm very well aware that this is going to add to my resilience bank and that this is going to shape me as a person. As I evolve, it's going to shape me as a person. So developing a growth mindset is really, really important when it comes to resilience. All right. Reflecting and journaling. It is brilliant. So reflecting is something that I don't often do, which I did share with you. I am very much a shut that door, let's keep moving. Shut that door, let's keep moving. Shut that door, let's keep moving. I do not sit and I do not reflect. And that's something that I'm trying to change, because we can't move forward if we haven't quite reflected from back there. I honestly don't think we can move forward until we've worked out what went on back there. Journaling is a fantastic way of figuring out how you actually think and feel about things. I know that sounds really, really silly, but as a people pleaser, I often forget I often find it hard to think about how I actually feel about something rather than trying to figure out how someone else wants me to feel about something. So journaling is fantastic. Hobbies and leisure activities, that's just a bit like self-care. That can help build emotional resilience. Learning new skills. So learning a new skill can help with resilience as well. Volunteering, that is brilliant. And professional support. So going to chat to someone for professional support, that can also build your resilience as well. So we have covered what is resilience, why is it important. You've heard my story about a time that I have had to really dig deep and build resilience. Ways to cope with resilience and not always in stressful ways. And making sure that we are aware of our resilience. giving yourself a pat on the back, because adding to that resilience bank is huge. That is huge for your character. It is huge for your personal growth. It is huge for your professional growth. So give yourself a pat on the back, because we can really strive through stressful times because we know that we're building that resilience and we know we're going to be better for it. All right. I did share with you the quote that I have more grit than quit. I had so much quit previously. So this is a saying from Jessie Lee Ward. I have more grit than quit. I had so much quit years ago. I had so much quit. And now through my resilience building activities, so through personal development, through a lot of mindset work, reflecting on things that have happened previously, pulling out those wonderful positives from the situation, sitting back in hindsight, I've learned to grow my grit. All right. So something I want you guys, as I leave you for the week, for the day, I want you guys to be really mindful of the times that you have been resilient. And if you are currently building resilience, congratulations, you're going to be a stronger person for it. And I have a quote from the resilience book. So I have a whole lot of these books. They were around. I don't know if they're around anymore. There's just a few. This is Confidence, Self-Care, and Mindfulness. There is quite a few of them. There's actually Joy and Resilience, and there's a purple one. There's one that's like Love, and anyway. So these are quotes, and I've picked one out. All right. Resilience is not just for surviving the worst day of your life. It's for thriving every day of your life. So that resilience that you're building actually helps you thrive every single day. So resilience is not just for surviving the worst day of your life, it's for thriving every day of your life. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. As I said, make sure that you are commenting and sharing and liking, especially on the podcast. I really, really appreciate you guys. Have a safe and wonderful day. Build on that resilience. I'm super proud of you, and you'll see me next week. Much love. Bye.